This is what we're discussing this morning. Just a tender reminder. IEBC bosses must quit in a week. AG Githu Muigai says talks to determine send-off package for election chiefs have been going on and they're likely to be concluded this week. And we know pressure also is once again mounting around the exit of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission bosses. And of course, we've had ODM chairman also weighing in on this as well. And he's asking, and he wants the 9 commissioners to leave by the end of the week instead of October 15th deadline proposed by his party chairman. This war of words between government and agencies has also not helped matters. First, there was the complaint that the president was taking too long to sign into law the bill that was to set the stage for the commissioners' exit. Then, the National Treasury was last week put on the spot for failing to explain clearly how the commissioners will be paid before they leave office. Third, although the religious organizations have picked their representatives to the panel to interview candidates for the IEBC jobs, other institutions such as the Law Society of Kenya and the Public Service Commission have yet to name their nominees. They all need to act with speed to expedite the process once the matter of the commissioners' pay package is settled. The opposition has raised legitimate concerns that a delay in the exit of the commissioners means that it will take longer to hire a new team, which will not have enough time to prepare for the 2017 election. The uncertainty is putting the country in a precarious position and means that once the new office bearers are appointed, they might be confronted with the daunting task of conducting by-elections for the constituencies of the registered elected leaders who have switched parties' allegiance instead of preparing the general election less than a year. And that's what we're asking you this morning. Is it feasible? Do you think so? What do you reckon? Are we likely to have new IEBC commissioners installed by Friday this week? You know the drill. Hit us on Twitter. AM11TV is a Twitter handle. AM11TV is a profile name on Facebook. And 20505 is our SMS portal. So also you get to drive the show with us. Of course, you can call in, ask questions, and share your contribution as well. I'm holding court this morning with Honorable Farah Malim, who is a former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. Also, I'm holding court this morning with the Senator of Kisumu. This is Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. We have with us also media consultant Kwendo Panga, and we have Rachel Shebesh as well. She's the Nairobi Women Representative, and Alice Wahome. She is Member of Parliament from Kandala. Right, before we even embark on that particular discussion on IEBC and electoral reforms, I think it was only fair that also we can hear what the men have to say regarding the Jubilee and, you know, the women, the way they're targeted or they're being treated unfairly as well. Let's begin with you, Kwendo.
Thank you, Dibal. 2 things. One, regarding women in politics. I agree that women do have a tough, rough deal.
Yes.
They've got to overcome stereotypes, and there is some hostility that is directed at them. I first saw it as a young man in secondary school,
yes,
in the 70s, and I'm seeing it right now. When you go to Bomet, Deputy Speaker Laboso wants to be governor, and you've had the Secretary General of NAT, Sosion, say, you can't run here. Yeah, go and run where you are married, not here. Now, that's an issue. Is it going to work against her or for her? We've got to wait and see. You saw Cecil Mbarire and Senator Kivuti. On this one, I think Cecil wanted a fight. She didn't get it, but she wanted a fight. You could see that.
You think she was spoiling for a fight?
Yes, she was. Now, what Mheshimiwa Shebesh said struck me, that Jubilee is looking at having at least 2 women governors in the next government, in the next dispensation.
Yes.
And I'm telling myself, wait a minute, there are 47 seats. Jubilee is a major party. Why would Jubilee set the bar so low for women? Just a thought.
Minimum. Unless you don't understand what minimum
All right.
means.
Okay,
A minimum of 2.
A minimum of 2. Okay, let's hear from Farah. Maximum of how many? They don't
47.
have a couple. 47.
Yeah, you know, it's
Okay.
it's a pity. It's a pity. It's a pity what's in a name.
Yes.
I noticed Laboso, Joyce. Joyce has even shunned using her husband's name. in the sense that she would not use, is it what, Odhiambo or Nyango? Her name basically that's Luo Nyanza. In an age in which
Obonyo.
In an age in which we have a president called Obama in the US. Obama in the US. And here we are, poor lady who thinks she can do a very good job as a governor, sees the risk involved in even using the surname of her husband and just use as Joyce Laboso officially. I mean, that I think is a hurdle we need to get over.
She's been elected twice with with the same thing.
I know, I understand it. I was there.
Yeah.
Where she got elected in the by-elections and the rest. But even let me.
I mean, really, she's been elected twice.
Yeah, but hang on a minute, Alice. You'll get your own turn. You've had your own wars. You attempted 4 times. 4 times. And only finally.
I attempted twice.
And only finally.
And I'm sure you lost the last time and you are going back.
Yeah, no,
again.
that's not a problem.
Yeah, you are trying to attempt.
All right.
So
Okay, back to issue.
That's not a problem. The issue is that it's there. I mean, this prejudice is there. Sure. There's no question about that. You can't tell me that there's no prejudice. You see, the problem with women is that women are their own worst enemies. The moment one of them makes it, she believes that each one of them should be just as tough and as strong as capable as me. Why do you have to seek an affirmative action for you to be there? I mean, we've seen that. When you look at feminism, the biggest enemies of feminism itself are the women themselves. The few who manage to slip through and with a bit of luck or with a lot of efforts and manage it, do not want to see many others joining that club. So they insist that, look, there shouldn't be this. But let me tell you one thing I can tell you. We have seen the leadership of women in this country. And we've seen some serious good leaders, I can assure you, in different communities, particularly in these elective positions. You see, women are mothers. And of course, there are cases that they're just as crooked as the men are. But the tendency for them to be pretty much have their heart and their soul in the constituency. And to try and raise the standard of living of those people and help in education and fields, health sector and all that is there. Just look at what Charity did when she was there as Charity should be credited with bringing the kind of health insurance, more or less close to a universal health insurance that we're working for, NHIF. She made all the difference when she was there. She made all the difference in terms of taking water to all the 4 corners of the pastoral, arid and semi-arid areas when she was there as a minister.
Yes.
You get my point. So Martha did her own powerful achievements as a minister, as a member of parliament. And she, ran against the mightiest. Remember the Karithi was Geoffrey Karithi, the former head of civil service. A very young lady that time in her 30s, I think, and still manages. Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Jubilee is when you try and constrict the space, the democratic space. And the other day, all my sisters here were laughing because they've got one big party which is going to unite the country, and then watch a few weeks down the line, the same girls will be crying again and saying that this is not right.
What's not right? There is nothing you have said about Jubilee not being
No, let's watch. Let's watch when you go for the nominations and then you lose the nominations.
I have told you we are very happy to see where she is and Joyce. That shows you that the competition is between those 2 women and the men who are currently in. So where have we said there's a problem with Jubilee? In fact, Jubilee will probably have the biggest, we will have probably where most competition within Jubilee will be, because in CORD, the competition is more, how do I say? There's some form of dictatorship. They can decide this is the candidate.
Within
they can
CORD.
decide this is in CORD. DM. But in Jubilee, the fight will be real. There's a real fight to get the Jubilee ticket. It will be real, it will be tough, and that is why you saw what is happening. Real tough. There is no, being given under the table. And that's why we are going to nominations through IEBC, because we want fairness in nominations, but we do want to go for nominations. We don't want to be given tickets.
All right, but even going on with the nominations through IBC, that is contentious. We'll look at
Let's
it.
watch.
What's contentious about it? If a party decides, a party has decided. It's contentious for who?
All right, we'll look much later in the course of the program.
And listen to you.
Yes, but the point is, I think we are being contradictory here.
ratio says if a party has decided, a party has decided. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what political parties are about. If you look at the history of Britain, there was one time when the Labour Party was losing every general election.
Yes.
And then they realized that the Conservative Party was doing something very clever. The Conservative Party was studying their constituencies very early and doing opinion surveys and finding out who is most popular and nominating them
And
for those
picking that
constituencies.
person, yes,
Because the constituents gave their opinion in an opinion survey and they saw who is most popular, and the Conservative went ahead and nominated. The Labour Party, on the other hand, did what we do in ODM, actually, primaries. I know that when I was standing, every time I was stood for an election either as a member of Parliament or Senate, you have a primary, and if you win the primary, you are assured of the seat. Now, when the Labour Party did that, there was so much rancor and enmity within the party that those who lost in the primaries then went ahead to support the Conservative candidates because they were so bitter. So the Labour Party decided, look, why are we killing ourselves from within? Let's also adopt a process where we identify candidates, what they call safe constituencies, and say these will stand there, there's no need. Then there was marginal constituencies, whether they used a different method. Then there were constituencies where they really didn't have a chance. They could let anybody stand there. So look, politics is a lot of political engineering. You can't just say nomination and put a blanket kind of recommendation. No, that's not it. And so if you see a party using a certain method, don't begrudge them using that method. There must be reasons why they're doing so. So political parties must decide as political parties. Otherwise, if every political party behaves in the same way, where's the difference?
Yes.
I mean, there must be difference in ideology,
But
in organization and so on.
Don't give away too much of
No, I'm not saying. So what I'm
You
saying,
will do nominations, you will do...
no.
No, you do
I'm
what you
not
want,
saying
you do
that.
what
You
you
do
want.
consensus, you will do nominations.
No, I'm not saying that. Look, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, in fact, it depends on where the constituency is. You are not listening to me because you have a single story in your head.
I know what you're
She has
saying.
a single story in her head. What
confirmation
happened to
bias.
her?
Don't give away too much.
We know what zoning is. Zoning is
So-
in all political parties. Political parties do zoning, and I agree with what Professor is saying.
But why don't
There-
don't
there
agree
is
with me.
zoning.
Let me complete my story.
Complete,
Because you see,
Professor.
you are so anxious. Cut me short because I'm
Complete.
dismantling your thesis. But anyway, so the point is that in the coming elections, Jubilee has decided to be one party. Fine.
Yeah.
That is not a standard way of behavior. Let other people decide what they do, depending on how they want to win the elections. And there should not be kind of a child's play. Oh, I'm better than you. No, I mean, really. What will determine whether you are better than me or not?
It's
The
the
results of the
final
election.
All right.
So now let's not quibble about it because it becomes a child's play. Otherwise, that's what I can see. Anyway, that was my submission.
Thank you, Kwendo Panga.
Yep, my take is that when we come to party nominations, oftentimes we have a lot of controversies. And I am not reckoning that it will be different this time round. I think we are going to have the same controversies we've had previously. We will really go into the next election with a lot of bad tastes in the mouths of very many people out of nominations. Indeed, Mheshimiwa Shebesh is going to have a tough fight here in Nairobi. When you look at it, there are already 4 or 5 women who think she is enjoying too much.
That's
We
7.
we should
There's
have
7.
There's 7.
Yep.
We should have a bit of it. So we are going to have very tough fights. And where the party high command will try to interfere, and I say interfere advisedly, we are going to have serious fallouts.
But let me say something about the women. Look, I believe seriously on a proportional representation system because it's really definitely more democratic in diversified society like ours than the single past, whatever. Because you know, look, we cannot wish away the level of cultural development. We cannot wish it away. It's a historical reality. After all, look at the U.S. How many women senators are there? 200 years after independence. Look at Britain. They are having now the second woman prime minister since the Magna Carta in 1200. I mean, that's a lot of centuries. So, and the women suffragette movement only succeeded in giving women the vote in 1929. So the emancipation of women has been a big problem in all societies, not just Kenyan one. And if we are going to have more women in representative institutions, the present constitution made a tremendous progress by having women and also designated seats for women as county representatives, because you get then people in parliament who are representing people because of specific form of proportional representation. What we should think, if our women really, and I have been a champion of women cause for a long time, I supported a woman presidential candidate in the party that I had formed because I believed that we needed to lead by example. Unfortunately, I think the wrong thing we did was to have a presidential candidate, because I think this presidential candidate thing is also very adverse to democracy in society like ours. If we had had a parliamentary system and then we had had Gilu as the party leader in a parliamentary system, the results would have been different. So two things that we need to think of in terms of reforms in the future. One, get rid of this presidential system. Let's have a parliamentary system. Secondly, let us lay more emphasis in proportional representation than first past the goalpost. You will have a fairer democracy, more representation by women and marginalized people and disabilities and so on than we have at the moment. But let me say, having said that, we have made some progress in the present constitution. More progress can be made with proportional representation and a parliamentary system of government.
Thank you. We have a caller who's hanging on the line before we come to Mheshimiwa Alice Wahome. We have Sophia hanging on the line. Good morning, Sophia.
Morning to you. Hi, how are you guys?
We are fine, thank you.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sophia.
I want to tell these two ladies who are seated there.
Yes.
There are some ladies who have done great job in Kenya. One being the wife of the president.
Ooh, yeah,
No?
Yes.
Yes, go on, yes.
There are ladies who have done great job in Kenya.
Yes.
One being the wife of the president, the sitting president. Another one is Wangari, the late Wangari mother.
Yes.
Another one is Mother Karua.
Yeah.
And even the pastor, the lady pastor who is vying for the women rep is much better than Shebesh, much better.
Which one?
She is now seated there telling Kenyans, I'm representing women from Nairobi. In his sleeve, there are ladies who are raped by soldiers, people who are disturbed, their wealth had been taken. She has never gone to sleep and fought for the Somali ladies in Nairobi. And remember, the Somali women in Nairobi are part of the women in Kenya. Number two, Shebesh has been seen for the last few weeks. We thought she was even out of politics. She's now came back vying for those seats. These 2 weeks, Madam Dear Shebesh, if you want to win something in Nairobi, you will never get votes from the women of Nairobi. Please just count yourself out. Number two, you have been sending Farah Maalin ABCD right now, we were hearing. You, Shabesh, you've never helped the ladies of Nairobi. You go and we can even do vetting. We can do head counts. The ladies who are going to vote for you.
I'm sorry to butt in. I think we are talking about electoral reforms.
Yeah, even electoral reforms. She has nothing to contribute.
No. I don't think that particular. She doesn't really warrant also those comments in the morning. It's not admissible. Right. If you have another caller hanging on the line.
But let me just respond to
Yeah,
her.
sure.
Because I think I know that there is a candidate from, there's a lady candidate. So it's okay. Those are people who are competing with me.
Okay.
But let me just say, it's true what she says, first of all. The first lady, what she has done in terms of, showing leadership of women, even in her role as a first lady, cannot be gainsaid. I mean, she's really done a good job. But let me tell you the challenge. The challenge of women, from what you have heard, is that we're expected to do 10 times what men do. 10 times. Women expect us to do much more than men do, because women are supposed to be better in terms of networking, in terms of nurturing, And so we have that is the challenge that you're seeing me getting here is the challenge of all women, that people feel you have not done enough. It doesn't matter whether you did not have money, because people don't understand, first of all, that women rep money we did not have. An MP today, when they're elected, they go straight to the ground with CDF.
Yes.
100 million, straight away, as soon as they're elected. When women reps came in, we had not put the factor of money. So we started lobbying. So after 3 years, we got the money. So I am sure, even as she's speaking, she knows I've been to Isili many times. She knows. But you cannot do what an MP does in a constituency because you are a county MP. So being a county MP is also very challenging, because I have 85 wards, 17 constituencies. You will not be able to be felt everywhere. So that is something we need to deal with and accept that if you go for a county seat, and I'm sure Professor will tell you in terms of also being a senator, you have a bigger space to occupy. And you can't occupy that space when you don't have resources. So I thank the government that we've gotten resources, but Debal, we have been given 7 million per constituency compared to 100 million that the MP is going on the ground with. So even if I go to the ground and do good work, and if the people obviously are comparing me to the MP, they will see a 100 million project and they will see a 7 million project by Shebesh. Surely, see, they'll say Shebesh is not doing as much as the MP is doing. Because this also idea of thinking that politicians can do a development with their own money is a fallacy. It's silly. I mean, you have to have money appropriated to you to go into development, and that's what we are doing. So I'll tell my dear sister there, please vote for any other woman you want to vote for, because this is an affirmative action seat. It's not written Rachel Shebesh. It is written Nairobi Women Representative. If you have a candidate who you think can do better, please go ahead. Because at the end of the day, this seat will be occupied by a woman. No man will ever take Nairobi Women Rep. So any woman for me who wins out of the 7, 8 contestants is still a woman. Yeah.
I thought
Okay, let's hear from Alice.
I think there was a point on nomination that we were discussing regarding how, you know, how democratic they can be and how are we going to get more women. I think that is the point that we started off. And I think I want also to even say that at this stage, Jubilee should actually be commended, because we are already seeing women governors coming out to contest. So far, we have 3 women. We have Joyce Raboso, not poor woman, like Farah wanted to say. Joyce Raboso is a very strong, powerful woman. So we really don't want to stereotype poor women, you know, because that is how we start being set up for failure. Because everybody wants a politician who is rough.
Right.
So I think that then we also have Cicely Barire and we have Anne Waiguru. And we hope that we can actually get many more coming up to because contesting, getting these cities, the first step is to offer yourself as a candidate. The COD has not so far given us any candidate, and you see time is running out. And I want to agree with Prof when he talks of safe seats. And the political parties need to be courageous and actually maybe even identify safe seats if we are going to stop offering lip service to women.
All right, but there is also, I don't know if it's a non-issue, but the issue of your maiden name also really coming into play. Like Farah has raised, and of course we've seen also from Cicely Barire as well, her maiden or her husband, of course, who's not really Kenyan, and people also are taking advantage to it. He's Kenyan. He's Kenyan. Oh, okay.
I think that Joyce Laboso has never really used her own husband's name as such, and she has vied twice and won. So I think
I'm confusing with Wavinya, but she's been attacked on the same as well.
I can count the women. We start with Miri Uthiambo. She doesn't use Mabona Lily, because she has been known to use that name. And I don't think the fact that you are already elected, you should now start changing your names automatically, because even selling a name in a constituency is a very hard job. So then we have also Cicely Barire, who married when she was already a nominated member of parliament, and she was nominated by virtue of her work. So and we actually I also, Wahome comes from Nyeri, and I think that is where you see that the stereotype must be, you know, separated from actual work. We are talking about an office. Any other office, the seat of a member of parliament, senator or governor, is like any other office, is a constitutional office.
But I think, personally, I don't think we should make a big deal
out of it,
names,
yes.
because
Yeah, about the names.
In a name, as Sarah was saying, that which smells as a rose can buy any other name. Smell liquid is so well. So I don't think we should. But look, there are women who have been elected position under very difficult times in the past. Grace Onyango was the first mayor of Kisumu. In those days, he became an MP for Kisumu. Phoebe Asio, likewise. Niva Mwendwa. Margaret Kenyatta was mayor in this city of Nairobi. Then Charity Ngilu. Pamela Mboya, when I was in high school, although she was not elected, but she was a great woman leader. We were in high school at Lance High School. Pamela Mboya was the chairman of Child Welfare Society of Kenya. And we worked with her to adopt a child as pupils at Lance High School here in Waithaka, and we contributed money, educated this child under the leadership of Pamela Mboya. She was a great inspiration to us as young people. I mean, really. So I know that women can perform functions in various aspects of life. And they will fight for those opportunities and give an imprint.
Thank you.
Because they have personalities as persons, not just as women.
Right. As you prepare your thoughts also, Kwendo Panga and Farah Malim, can you kindly allow me also to get other two callers who are hanging on the line? We have James and Cheriot.
Hello?
Yeah, James, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, you have a question or a contribution from a panelist this morning?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please,
I
go
have
first.
a contribution.
Yes, please.
And mine goes to the two ladies seated there, Shebesh and Alice Wahome.
Yes.
And I think we need more women in our parliament, in our governance structures, and even in the executive. But I want to challenge them. We had people like Joe Indong. You don't know what we can remember how with the sexual offenses bill. We had Phoebe Asio, we had Grace Onyango. These are ladies who left a legacy. It was not about quantity. The two ladies who are seated there, our girls, especially in those poor societies in the rural areas, one of the problems they're having is not going to school because they don't have, especially during menstruation. Why haven't they enacted a bill in parliament or even sponsored one so that our girls can have these sanitary towels for free? Why are we having condoms for free and we don't have these pads for free? The other challenge goes to my good professor, Nyongo. You're Minister for Health. You are supposed to have done that. Why didn't you do it?
I'm supposed to have done
It all depends on the legacy that you want to leave. Let us not come here and make these, keep on discussing issues here and there when we had a chance. Even the ladies who are there, they have a chance. Let them do it. What do they want to do in governorship when they have done nothing as MPs? We want quality, not quantity.
Right, thank you.
We want more women with quality.
Thank you, James, from Nyeri there. We have another caller hanging on the line. Good morning. All right, it seems a tough connection there. We'll try and reconnect with our caller as well. Maybe you want to respond to James?
James needs to know, first of all, that we already fought for that in the last parliament, the issue of sanitary pads. And through the Ministry of Education, sanitary pads are given. They are being supplied. But as Nairobi Women Rep, I have given 5,000 girls sanitary pads. 3 schools in every constituency of Nairobi, 3 schools in every constituency of Nairobi, the standard 8 girls, because those are the ones I do not want to miss classes.
Yes.
Using the funds that I have been given, I have been able to reach 5,000 girls. So it's also not right when people call and say you have done nothing, yet they have not even done their homework to know whether you have done nothing. But that's the nature of Kenyans and against politicians.
All right.
Always pessimistic. But let's just put it on the record. Government gives sanitary pads. That was passed even in the last... government.
You see, Dibar, we need to understand that the yardstick that Kenyans are using for women and to judge women is actually not the same yardstick that men get judged with, because we have only 16 women elected in this National Assembly. And out of 349, for a woman to start actually making even a strong presence, it's still a big challenge. So therefore, we will continue seeing that people are expecting maybe magic, but the space is quite constricted. And even actually getting even headline, today getting headline, the reason you even got headlines in Kandara is because there was a fight, not because of the good work I've done in education. You know, so we have issues.
Thank you. Let's hear from Farah. We'll come to
Dibal, let me tell you. You had Peter talk about the late Mboya, what was her name? Pamela Mboya, yes, Pamela Mboya. She picked up something that was close to the heights of all Kenyans that time. Led that and ran with it. Look at the first lady right now, Madam Margaret Kenyatta. I say she is the only one who is lighting the hearts of Kenyans in the midst of all that, all the shortcomings we have with the government. You know, she doesn't talk loud about it, but you see her in the 4 corners of the country. The woman who was talking about Shebesh, she expected to see Shebesh when poor ladies were being put into trucks and taken into Kasarani and literally going through what amounts to more or less like the concentration camps of the Nazi era. They expected Shebesh to be there with her heart as a mother, as a woman.
Yes.
And that's why Charity Ngilu always will have a head start of everybody else. Because wherever she was, you see her in every hotspot. You know, in the central police station, Somewhere in Northeastern Province, running with water to women there. Somewhere in Western Province, somewhere in Nyanza. You see, when women are not only supposed to be out there doing things, but they are supposed to have their heart and soul in the things that stick out. When you see a woman in Turkana with a bowl, and you're told some of them even ate dogs, you know what I mean? I expect women members of parliament to be running around in that place and literally doing something about, however small it is.
Thank you.
However small it is. So when these things do not happen, it doesn't matter how much significant in one small area what you have done, which is not known to the public. But what we want to see in women is we want to see the heart and the soul of this country in women. Yeah.
Rachel said something very important, which I think is ruining the politics of this country.
Yes.
It's ruining leadership, because I think leaders, to me, are men and women who make a difference in people's lives. Something was smuggled in the politics of this country during the Nyayo era called money.
Yes, 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 yes.
Now, quite honestly, a legislator should not be somebody who executes development program. A legislator should be making policies and laws for the government to execute. But because of this money politics, and because the constituents expected MPs to deliver development, we introduced CDF in 2003. Why? Because what the ordinary one thought of leadership was delivering development. So we said, look, the government is not delivering development, because I was in a DDC for 10 years. I didn't see anything. So we said, let us give this money to the people who are most stressed about this development, the MPs. So we created CDF. But now the present constitution has given us a new dispensation, devolution, where money is given to the national government to perform certain functions according to Schedule 5 of the Constitution. The county governments are on Schedule 4. The county governments are also given function according to the same schedule. The two houses, the National Assembly and the Senate, the National Assembly is meant to oversight the national government in performing those functions. The Senate is meant to oversight the counties performing that function. So I would expect that women county representatives in the National Assembly should oversight the national government, the manner in which they're performing their national functions in the counties, particularly with regard to women's development, because that's an important component of county functions. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, we are still continuing this mentality, and that's why we resisted in the Senate, that legislatures should have money to implement development. Completely wrong.
Right, thank you. Let's hear from Kwendo Pang, and we dwell deeper also as well on the electoral reforms, because this week also we know is a big week. We're still eagerly waiting to see if we'll have new commissioners installed so far. We understand also from the CS that money has not been dispersed as yet. So are we in any way facing a timeline crisis when it comes to IEBC commissioners?
Yes, I think, Debal, we could face a timeline crisis, because I heard you say at the beginning that you asked at the beginning, are we going to have new commissioners in place by Friday? I do not think we are going to have new commissioners in place by Friday. Now, the other thing is, why have we not sent the current commissioners on their way? We have not even finished with their money issues. Mm-hmm. We've not finished with their exit issues. Okay, yes. So we cannot, I do not see us being ready by Friday. Now, that is going to add to the anxiety. The thing about Kenyans is we are quite apprehensive, very suspicious when we are talking about the polls body. Any polls body, this one, the previous ones. Mm-hmm. And when we are going towards elections, yes, we get suspicious and we begin to see anything that happens. Mm-hmm. There is this delay. And if you look at the lead story in the Nation today, yes, mm-hmm, it does say, look, one side is already saying, look, this is Jubilee. They were not for this business from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they are stalling. They are dragging their feet. That is in keeping with our politics. My take, the sooner we dispense with this business of the current office so that new ones come in, mm-hmm, the better. Because if we delay further, mm-hmm, then the incoming commissioners will find a full tray and quite a bit to do in a very short time. Remember, when you are going away, as the current 9 commissioners are, you are not very anxious you are not quite motivated to work. You want to say, wacha waje, I want to exit.
All right, so are we likely then to see CORD going back to the streets, because they've given an ultimatum that if we don't have the new...
There is a threat. There is a threat. I think it's Senator James Orengo who's said if it doesn't happen as soon as we are asking, we'll go back to the streets. I hope we do not get there. We don't want to go to the streets again, but the process should be expedited.
All right.
Ania, a democracy is ruled by the rule of law. The rule of law means that once a law is passed, it sets a time action plan for implementation. That's what the rule of law is all about. You don't then have too much discretion on what you do. Therefore, governments, once the legislature has passed a law, the legislature has given government a program. The government establishes a time action plan according to that. You have no option. Now, it looks as if the government is treating this commissioner with kid gloves. There's no God-given law that says that negotiating or discussing the exit package for this commissioner should take a month. In the UN, by the way, when there's a deadline that a certain agreement might be signed by a certain time, you can meet 24 hours, you don't go to sleep. You meet until you agree to reach the deadline, because the UN believes in the rule of law. The Kenyan government must also believe and embrace the rule of law. Once a law is passed by Parliament and a time action plan has been provided, abide by it. If today is the what? The 26th of September,
yes,
and that law said quite clearly that these people should go away by the end of the month. The end of the month has not come. Today, the government should be meeting 24 hours a day to meet the deadline so that we don't have a crisis. Secondly, in that process, once they go, you know that you need new commissioners. You must have, again, some days to appoint those commissioners. So as far as I'm concerned, today is the deadline for those commissioners to go, so that we have 4 days within to discuss new commissioners. I'm very proud of the Judicial Service Commission. I think because they are people who adjudicate law. They have shown us how to do it in terms of appointment. Why is the national government now shaming us by not following the good example of the Judicial Service Commission in dealing with a simple problem like this? Parliament did its work, presented them enough time to do it, and then Githu Muigai is telling us that, well, you know, we have still not negotiated. You knew this, and there's a law, yes, and you are the chief law-making and advisor for the government.
And of course, you're giving space for everyone to read mischief into this. Why
yes,
is there, why are they slow on the uptake of this?
Yes.
Allow me to take a call who's hanging on the line. We have Bernard hanging on the line. Good morning, Bernard.
Morning.
Morning. You have a question or a contribution, please, for our panelists?
Yeah, I have a contribution.
Yes.
Now, I'll first advise Rachel to sober up. We are still behind her. And
I beg your pardon?
Rachel, we should not throw away this one vote from this Iris mother, because she's maybe having 3 friends, 2 daughters, and this line may go down to 1,000 people.
Well, I'm afraid we don't follow. Hello, good morning, Bernard. We are not following.
Oh,
just
okay.
Just kindly go back to your question. Right.
I wanted to advise Madam Rachel.
Yes.
To at least sober up and bring back her vote. Yeah, but by saying that, I'm referring to the woman who called and said that Rachel will not win the women's vote, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I would like Rachel to bring back her vote by being sober and at least being polite, because we are still behind her.
All right, thank you.
Now,
all right, I think Bernard is just in solidarity with you that, yes, you should go full steam ahead with your vote.
You don't say vote for anybody you want. Tell her, please come back to me.
I hear you. What is his name?
He's called Bernard.
Bernard, I hear you, Bernard.
All right, thank you. So,
no.
Yes, then I want you also to say, because we have Kalole saying that we're giving President Kenyatta, actually serving him a notice, that if the IEBC commissioners are not paid their send-off package within 1 week, then we will take action. And Senator Orengo is asking, why are you together with is actually accusing the president of delaying the appointment of the new poll commissioners, and also they are threatening to go back to the streets. So is it within the remit of the president to appoint these new commissioners?
No, you see,
or this is just a statement which is far-fledged?
You see, in any organization, private or public, when you create a change in the leadership, when people are either sacked or dismissed or relieved of their duties, it is supposed to be with immediate effect. With immediate effect. So if, the moment we decided that these commissioners are not going to be with us anymore, we're going to recruit new commissioners, they should have ceased to occupy those offices. Immediately they ceased to occupy those offices, because you don't know what mischief they're able to initiate in between now. And if there have to be, there's the issues of negotiations of the settlement, let those negotiations of the settlement be done while another process is already taken over and they've vacated the offices and you have new people in there. Or you have the interim, the executives, because these are commissioners. The secretariat will be run in the place while this process also is on full, full steam ahead. So basically, I also read that mischief, the same mischief itself. One, by keeping the same commissioners sitting in those offices right now and drawing salaries and drawing allowances and giving directions and the rest of it. And second, by not initiating immediately. You remember we were here with Gladys Boss-Cholet,
yes,
going through the
timeline
and the timeline and telling us, look, we don't have time. Yeah. And that should not have been lost on the executive and the system in here. But that has not happened. So I equally read the same mischief that's being read by the likes of Raila and Junaid and the rest of it. And the rest of those, anybody else who's looking at these things as a bystander or even as an interested party. Whether people will come out into the streets, yes. There's a process. I mean, we have negotiated something. There's a law in place. The law is not being followed. The law is not being followed to the letter.
Were you ambitious also? Maybe could you say the Parliamentary Select Committee was ambitious also in setting
No. You
the
see,
deadline has 30th of September.
Parliamentary Select Committee has started. Listen, we were in the last Parliament with Shebesh and Peter. And we had deadlines to meet in the operationalization of the laws. And we sat until midnight. Because we did not want to get to the next date without having passed those laws. So I don't see why that should not happen.
So why should we do things under the wire as we want to this country? Even if it's in Parliament, we come to KRA, we always do things under the wire.
There is no good intention in that, I can tell you that. There's a bit of a mischief.
Let's hear from Kwendo Panga.
One thing about ourselves as Kenyans is we want to wait until a day two, the deadline. Then we wake up and we begin to say, tutachelewa. But we've been around all this time. Now, regarding the IEBC and the deadlines, I think Prof has put it very well. The legislature did its bit. It's up to government to do its bit. Unfortunately, government has, as I said previously, it's got feet of lead. It's not moving. Try dragging feet of lead. That's what government is doing, and I think, as the two legislators have said, no, Farah Maalim is not a legislator now. As my two colleagues have said, government, when there is a deadline, and Shebesh has confirmed in the previous legislature, they worked through, they burnt the midnight oil. Let the current parliament, let government, the bureaucrats, do their bit. Let us meet this deadline. Let us have new officers ready to take their place.
You hold with his view that the government has a feet of lead, first of all, and is actually, do you also agree with the statement by James Orengo, who's accusing the president of delaying these appointments? Is the president doing this, or what is happening?
I think Orengo should blame himself, because he was a co-chair in the select committee. What the select committee did not do, which from information that we have as members of parliament, we speak to them, they are our colleagues, they tried to initiate, to extend their mandate so that they could do the oversight now and of this implementation. As we are talking now, this report that was working on IEBC by the select committee, co-chaired by Senator Orengo and Senator Kiraitu Murungi, is on autopilot. There is no committee of the House, either in the National Assembly or the Senate, that is overseeing the implementation of this report. And that can't happen. I mean, really it can't happen, because you can't leave it to the will of the AG to start the process, the will of Parliament to start the process. You cannot. You must have a tight schedule with tight timelines, and that can only be with a committee that oversights. So my suggestion would be, call us back, because we're in recess, to form, either to extend the mandate of this current select committee, or to form a new select committee to oversee the implementation. Because as we are speaking now, it is on autopilot, and I agree very much with Moses Kuria, who also raised the same issue. This is not only being raised from the side of court, by the way, the concerns, even the side of Jubilee, especially those who are in the committee, are also raising the same concerns. And it's something they discussed but did not come to agreement on. So I think we should bring it to closure so that they can oversee this implementation.
Let's say from Alice, before we come to you, Prof.
Well, I think there is, for me, I don't see a major crisis here, because first, we had said that the commissioner should go away this month. And the negotiations of their salaries should not prevent their leaving the office. I agree with the people who have said that. Because in any event, we don't expect that the lump sum can be paid today and tomorrow. The Treasury does not have money where it goes and picks money and pays people. There is possibility that this money will be brought to Parliament so that we can also do some approvals or some adjustments, because then everybody has their own budget lined up. So the CS Treasury doesn't have money that he can just pay today. So what is important is an agreement of how much, and then agree on when to pay, whether it's a year or 2-3 months, I don't know, but providing that it's not much money that the government will not be able not to pay. We will be able to pay, I believe, because the committee has already recommended. Secondly, the autopilot that Rachel is talking about, I think the select committee takes the blame, but there was a tendency that this select committee also wanted to take the overall work of JLAC. And I think that is where the disconnection came. I think JLAC, that's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, should actually take over now and maiden what is remaining so that we conclude. However, you have seen also the Attorney General, who is really sitting in the former position of the Minister for Justice and Legal Constitutional Affairs, has also been extremely busy, and I'm not excusing because I don't know, but I have seen he has been busy because also he has been involved in the recruitment of the judiciary. Then at one time he's also outside the country. He is the one supposed to be coordinating most of these issues on behalf of the government. So we want to ask him to actually conclude and finalize the issue so that we can go to the next stage to have commissioners. Timelines have been a problem. We have been over ambitious. I said here, it is practically going to be almost impossible for us to get this thing within the time limits that are
as you're preparing also our headline thoughts, Prof.
Yeah, I must disagree with my sister. First of all, the Attorney General is not a person, it's an office. If Githu Muigai is sitting with the Judicial Service Commission, it does not mean that the Attorney General's office is not working. There are people in that office, even more experienced than Githu Muigai, by the way. I know them. They've been in this government and previous governments longer than Githu Muigai. So Githu Muigai should learn to devolve power in his office without necessarily being made irrelevant. So that's no excuse. The other one is, look, the way democratic governments work is that when a crisis is looming, there are two people who are very important in politics. The leader of government, the leader of the opposition. What President Uhuru Kenyatta should do, pick up a phone, call Raila Amolo Odinga, who is the court leader, and tell him, look, let's come see how we resolve this crisis. It doesn't mean that Uhuru Kenyatta will be less powerful the next day. He will only be exercising his constitutional responsibilities, head of state and head of government. And we should not let this crisis go to the extent that it becomes, to me it's not a crisis as such. It is poor management of our process that whose timeline and action plan was quite known by the law itself. I don't think the absence of an oversight committee stops the government from doing its work.
Right, thank you. Okay, let's get your headline thoughts. Kwenda Upanga, Rachel Shebesh, Alice Home, and finally Farah Maalim.
My take, the ball, is that there is a crisis in the making.
Yes. Over
the IEBC exit and the hiring of new commissioners. Unless whoever is concerned, all the parties involved, as Rachel has said, come on, we're on recess, call us back, let us fix this matter. I think that should be treated as of utmost urgency. We want this thing done and over with like yesterday.
Thank you.